A very good afternoon to all of you and welcome to this session, the first session on personality test guidance program for all of you. At the outset, may I request all of you to open your videos because you're going to appear before the board, and if you don't show your face, you won't get any marks. So can I request all of you to open your videos quickly so that we can get cracking straight away? Open your videos as early as you can. Please, all of you, Nimisha, Abhyuday, Mrudul Pundir, Vivek, Nitisha, please open your videos quickly. It's important for me to see your faces because I want to notice the facial expressions on your face, which the board is also going to notice. All of you, please open your videos. Abhyuday, Sumit, Nitisha, Vivek, please open your videos. How do you chat with your friends without opening your videos? Wouldn't they kill you if they find you that way, or you may end up losing your friendship? Friends, I am no Amitabh Bachchan to talk to a screen. A blank screen. If I see some faces, it's good for me. Abhyuday, are you there? आपका उदय हुआ या नहीं हुआ अभ्युदय का? मेरी बात सुन रहे हैं नहीं सुन रहे हैं? हिमांशु, चलिए, किसी का तो उदय हुआ, अभ्युदय का अभी तक उदय नहीं हुआ है। और ये संदीप दीक्षित हैं, क्या नाम है आपका? तो अच्छी सी शर्ट पहन रखी है इन्होंने, अपना जेब में हाथ डाले हुए हैं। Can I see your faces, please? Vanshika, please open your videos quickly. Ashish, Gaurav, I don't want to waste time. Get down to business straight away. If you don't open your videos, it will be difficult for me to carry on. Ashish, Gaurav, Vikas, Vanshika, Abhyuday, please open your videos, all of you, quickly. Sandeep. Now, if you can't listen to me now, then how do you expect me to make you listen henceforth? Won't it be difficult? And I can assure you that if you don't show your face, you will not get any marks before the board. So you jolly well show your face. Let me see your face as well. I'm at a loss. Why should Vanshika, Ashish, Gaurav, Vikas still remain behind a curtain? Sandeep Dikshit is making a valiant effort to come on screen. I think he has succeeded. Something wrong with his camera, doesn't matter, but he's made an attempt. But Ashish, Gaurav, Vanshika, Madhukant. Okay, so welcome to this interactive session. First of all, my compliments to all of you for having qualified. There are a few things that I thought I will share with you before we go on to discussing how to fill DAF. Now, DAF-2 is extremely important, and that will be demonstrated to you in the presentation that will happen after this small introductory remarks that I have to make. There are a few things I wanted to share with you, and I'd like you all to listen to it carefully and please follow up. Though I have not been able to persuade Nimisha, Vanishka, Urmi, Vanshika, Vikas to open the videos, I will continue to try. But God bless them if they don't appear on time before the board and don't show their faces. I have been guiding students like you, aspirants like you, for the past 6 years now, and my research tells me that people who remain behind the curtains, continue to remain behind the curtain, they don't qualify for the civil service. So the choice is yours. I was at the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy 3 days ago, and they all talked about the guidance that we provided here at StudyIQ. Now, this guidance will be useful to you if you follow what we tell you to do. You have a choice. You have a choice to have worked very hard for the past 2 years to qualify for the interview, and you have a choice not to qualify for the civil service. So the choice is yours. You take a call whether you want to follow what we tell you. The first thing that I have suggested is that if any one of you has not introduced yourself in the group, the WhatsApp group that has been created, please do that forthwith. That's very important for us to understand that you are a part of this process. You can't be anonymous here. As a civil servant, you may have to be anonymous, but right now you have to be visible. So please introduce yourself. Number 2, I will be communicating messages to you in the group. My suggestion is read those messages very carefully. Very carefully. There's a lot of effort that goes into drafting of those messages. There's a purpose behind it. And follow what is written in the messages. Now, I'm not very sure whether Urmi, or for that matter, Sandeep, and the others who joined recently are actually reading those messages, because they're not following what I'm telling you to do here. That is one. The second is, we will be having a series of sessions here. The first actual formal session will happen on the 19th of December, where I will actually tell you how to strategize for this personality test. The reason why I say that is, I had some personal experience in appearing before the board. I did that twice. In the year 1980, when I qualified for the police service, I faced the interview board first, and then in 1981 again. The difference between the first and the second year was something which I share with all of you. In the first year, I ended up only about 55% marks in personality test. In the second year, probably I got the highest in the country. And that is why I tell you what I did in that 1 year. And if you're prepared to listen, if you're prepared to follow, you will benefit. I mean, I met a girl who qualified in 2024, and she came and told me, sir, my marks 206 is precisely because I did what you told me to do. Now, I shudder at the thought that I'm only asking you to push a button to open your video. You are not doing that. How will you follow the other things which may be slightly more difficult? I have to keep asking you time and again to open your videos. The second part that I would like to tell you, try and be punctual. When I say 3 o'clock, it means 3 o'clock. You can't walk in. God forbid if you walk in like this in an interview board, personality test, you will have problems. I'll keep telling these things, what not to do, and again, leave it to you to decide what you want to do or you don't want to do. On the 19th, I will elaborate at length about what board wants. And that comes from my personal experience, as well as experience of candidates like you who have appeared in the past 6 years, with very intensive discussions that I have had with them. So that is what we will do. On the 19th, I'll tell you what is expected of you and what does the board seek. Then I'll talk about how do you prepare, and finally, what do you do on the final day of the interview. If you listen to whatever we tell you in the coming few days, probably you'll benefit. But again, as I keep saying, the choice is yours. You can afford, you can make a choice of not to listen. You can make a choice not to come on time. You can make a choice not follow what we've written there, but you'll regret at leisure, as I've seen many of you do. So please carefully read the messages that are sent. If you are asked to acknowledge, please acknowledge. You don't have to make comments on the group as a whole. I have messaged all of you one-on-one. If you want to have a conversation with me, you can have them. Very soon we'll tell you, if you want to have a one-on-one offline or online conversation, Rajat is sitting with me. He is the in charge of the personality development program here at StudyIQ. You can message him. He will compile all those that want an online conversation with me or offline conversation with me, and then we structure those conversations. So unlike elsewhere that you go for the interview guidance program, here I will not be participating in the mock interviews. There will be others who will be taking mock interviews. My job would be to understand you individually and guide you as to what you should do, what you shouldn't do in the coming few days. Very soon, WhatsApp groups will be constituted of you all, 5 each. In the session on 19th, I'll explain to you what that group has to do. In the past, those that have qualified for the civil service have benefited enormously by the regime that we bring in. So we'll tell you that on the 19th. Today, as I said, our discussion will be focused on DAF-2 only. Now, only thing that I want to say now is that those of you after this session, if you have any questions, we will stay on to answer your questions. Please listen to this video very carefully. It's very carefully worked out. And after the video, we'll have a question answer session. And thereafter, if you want your DAF to be run through by StudyIQ experts here, you can send that DAF by tomorrow. Give them a day. By 18th evening, they will send it back to you with their comments. And then on 19th, you can file your DAF. Now, this I am saying because in case you want StudyIQ to assist you in drafting DAF, you can send the draft to Rajat. His team will look at it and see if there are certain aspects that will need to be looked at. They will even have a conversation with you if required. So a conversation can be held on what should be filled, what not should be filled. So with these words, I'll stop here. We'll run through a video. Listen to this carefully And if you have any questions, jot them down. At the end of the video, I'll come back to you and I'll try and answer your questions. Can we have the video, please?
StudyIQ IAS. अब तैयारी हुई affordable.
Welcome to this a bit unusual presentation on DAF. What is DAF? First of all, my compliments to all of you for having qualified for the personality test. You have conquered one of the mountains. Now you have the ultimate mountain to go, but compliments to you for having worked very hard to come to this level where you are right now. My job today will be to tell you how to go about filling your detailed application form. Now, my experience in the past 4 or 5 years as I've tried to guide some of the aspirants like you who did well in the mains exam and qualified for the personality test is to tell them that DAF is an extremely, extremely important document on the basis of which your questions will be asked in the personality test. My experience tells me that more than 50% of the questions that are asked by the board members are from DAF. The reason is very simple. They have to take so many tests during the day. There's so many aspirants who come before them, and they do not have any other information except for what you've written in the DAF for them to ask questions of you. And what you will discover when you appear before the board is that many questions will evolve out of what you've written in DAF and then the conversation that you have with them. We here at StudyIQ have lined up a lot of programs to assist you to become better in terms of appearing before personality test. And they relate to providing opportunities for mock interviews, for one-on-one guidance with me, both virtual and physical ones. And there will be sessions with others who have qualified recently. So there's a lot of lined up for you for preparing for the personality test. But the most important aspect, the foundation of your personality test is how you fill in your detailed application form. Now, all of you would have filled your DAF-1 as the initial form earlier. So I am not even touching upon that. My contention is the DAF form which you're going to fill now. And if you're not very careful about doing that, then you may run into some problems in your personality test. So first of all, you will have to understand, as I mentioned here, what is being sought. What is being sought in the application form? The rationale for seeking that. For example, your background, where you've studied, what subjects you've studied, what are your hobbies, where you've done well. You have to understand the questions and the provisions very clearly. Because if you don't read it carefully, you will end up providing answers that might get you into trouble. We have some slides subsequently where we will try and explain what errors have been made by some people in the past. You should not make those errors. Be very careful about how you fill your form. So the first point that I mentioned here is what is being sought. Then you must also understand what is the purpose of seeking that information. So when they ask you about your hobbies, then you have to write about your hobbies. I mean, there can hardly be an individual who doesn't have a hobby. For example, in my understanding, hobbies actually means what you do during your spare time. Now, you can't say that I don't have any hobby. You have to have some hobby. You will be doing something in your spare time, but don't write something which is totally outlandish, which actually is not your hobby and written there. And this brings me to the next point, which I mentioned here. You have to be truthful. Don't mention anything in the detailed application form which is incorrect to your understanding. So it has to be truthful. You have to be honest to yourself, because those are very smart people sitting that are interviewing you, and they will catch you immediately if you are not truthful. So be truthful right from the word go. And then be precise. And I'll give you an example or examples of people who are not precise. As I said earlier, since your questions are going to be based on what you write, if you write vaguely, then they can ask anything under the sun. They can. But if you write vaguely, you unnecessarily give them an opportunity to ask things which you are not prepared for. So be careful about what you are writing. It has to be very precise, and we'll give you some examples of that. And the third point here, which I mentioned here, don't boast, is very, very important. You know, the whole objective of DAF is to provide information about you. Now, you don't have to say, I did this, I did that, because mind you, you are not going to be given marks on what you write in DAF. You are going to be given marks on how you speak, what you speak, about which we are going to talk later on in the next session. But here, you are, whatever you are writing on DAF will not give you marks per se. Marks will be given to you by what you speak, how you answer. That is what is going to be the determining factor in your personality test, not about your boasting. So, for example, if you have done extremely well in an examination earlier, or you've achieved a particular rank, or probably you've represented the country in a particular sport or a state in a particular sport, that in itself will not give you more marks. The primary objective of DAF, and you should all clearly understand, is to provide information to the people who are going to ask questions of you, because that helps them structure their own questions. So again, at the cost of repetition, I'd like to say that what you write in DAF will not give you marks. So be careful about what you write. What will give you marks is the questions and the answers that you give to the questions that are asked of you. With these initial words, let me take you to the presentations where we have tried to highlight what should be done, what should be done. And mind you, all the slides that have been prepared are prepared from actual DAFs that were presented or that were prepared by some of the aspirants in the past. And unfortunately, in the previous years, we did not go into such details of how do you write your DAF or how do you fill in your DAF form. This year, we are very particular because we discovered that many of the aspirants who had not taken care of how to fill in their forms ran into problem during the personality test. With these initial words, let me take you through to this show. Now, here is an example, as you would have all got to know by now. In DAF-2, you have to write what you've done in class 10 and 12. Again, here I am repeating again, what you fill here is an input to the interviewer or the board member to ask you questions. And here, look at one of the aspirants wrote science. What is required here is, what were the actual subjects that you had taken? This also indicates flippancy on the part of the aspirant and will not go down well with the board members. So you have to be careful. First, read what is being sought, as I mentioned earlier, and then provide some detail here, just writing science. Now, most of the forms did not have this sort of a problem. Most of the forms, the aspirants had actually mentioned the actual subjects that they had taken. But this particular aspirant wrote science here, could land him in trouble. Fortunately, if I remember it correctly, no questions per se was asked on this sort of a flippancy, but you could land in trouble if you just write a rough shot and say science or arts or commerce. It doesn't work. You have to give the details. Why? Because then in science, they will look at those subjects and maybe ask you a question or two on those subjects. And that's why it's very, very important. Look at the next one. Now here, I would appreciate this person. Why? Because he may not have won medals, he may not have had scholarship, he may not have won prizes, and he's left it blank because he didn't. Now, not winning an award in the past does not bring you bad marks. It will not be held against you. In fact, if you fill it the way, truthfully, they will probably appreciate your integrity, that you have the courage to say what you were. And that's a huge, huge attribute for a civil servant, for a budding civil servant, that you have the courage to speak out and say, I didn't get this. Fair enough. Not everyone wins awards. Not everyone gets scholarships. So if you haven't got it, nothing against you. So don't worry if you haven't won too many things in the past. But don't try and make up something and write it here. This guy is correct. He did not write. Now, here in sports NCC also, it appears that it is blank. He has not said anything, which is also very fair. He may not have won, she may not have won an award. Not everyone wins an award, so don't feel bad if you haven't won an award, a scholarship. I am repeating it because some of you, in the past, my experience has been while interacting with some of the aspirants is, they feel that they have to write something because otherwise it will create a bad impression. My friends, just forget about it. The DAF itself will not create an impression on the board members. What will create an impression, even at the cost of repetition, is what you answer and how you answer. So this gentleman has not written anything in front of sports and NCC. Very fair. He was not there, so he hasn't done it. Then look at the leadership positions. So hostel secretary is a leadership position. And when I take the next session, we will take you to help you to understand what sort of questions could be asked on this. I'm not touching upon this because this session is primarily for what should be written in DAF. And finally, extracurricular activities. Playing badminton is good enough. There's nothing wrong in it here. So this is a very genuine way of saying it. I mean, someone may say, "Saab, isme to kuch hai nahi. Isme to iska kya hoga? Isme to kuch kiya hi nahi." Doesn't matter at all. The reason why we put this slide here is be honest. Now, this is very interesting. This is another one. Now, the points that had to be written here were prizes, medals, and scholarship. When you read this, is internship in IIM Ahmedabad a prize or a medal or a scholarship? No, he can stretch by saying, sir, extra likha hai, isliye maine likh diya. Arey bhai, nahi likhiye. Be precise. If you remember my initial slide where I had said you have to be precise, you have to clearly mention what you've done. Again, winning a prize or winning a medal does not give you more marks in personality test. It merely is a piece of information available with the board member to ask questions of you. So please don't write internship in RK Fabrics. I mean, it may be great for you, it is good for your personality, but it is not worth mentioning here because specifically they've asked prizes, medals, and scholarship. Almost everyone is an intern. Everyone goes for internship. What is so great about it? Even if it is great about it, it is not required here. You don't have to mention it. So you look at that national finalist case study competition, Sub Miller and FMS Delhi. Think over it, whether it is worth mentioning here. You know, हमारी तरफ यूपी में कहते हैं बंदर के हाथ में अस्तुरा थमाना. अब मैं बोर्ड मेंबर्स को बंदर तो नहीं कह सकता, लेकिन आप अस्तुरा क्यों थमा रहे हैं उसको ऐसी चीज देकर जिससे वो आपसे ऐसे प्रश्न करें जिसका उत्तर ना हो आपके पास. तो जो सूचना मांगी गई है, प्लीज फिल इन ओनली दैट इंफॉर्मेशन दैट इज बीइंग सॉट, एंड दैट इज व्हाई आई एम गोइंग टू द डिटेल्स ऑफ इट. इंटर्नशिप इन अहमदाबाद, सो मेनी पीपल डू देयर मैनेजमेंट कोर्स इन अहमदाबाद. वो तो आगे ना एजुकेशन क्वालिफिकेशन में. ये अचीवमेंट क्या है इंटर्नशिप? सो देयर इज नो अचीवमेंट हियर, सो डोंट मेंशन इट हियर. देन स्पोर्ट्स. नाउ participating in intra and inter college level, how does it help? Why should you mention it? I mean, you can mention if you played a sport, you can mention basketball. And if they ask you, you know, you remember in the first slide I mentioned, don't boast. Don't appear to be boasting. If they ask you, if you've written basketball here and they ask you to which level you will play, then you can say that. Now, someone may say, why only up to inter college level? I mean, even if you represented the state, it should not be mentioned here. Just write basketball. Be humble about your achievements. Don't boast your achievements here. That could land you in trouble. Then, of course, this is okay, organizing member of a particular marketing committee. But, you know, try and keep it as limited as possible. The more information that you give, if it is relevant and you think it is important, give it. But don't write an essay here about what you've achieved in your life. It's not there. Here again, look at what is written here in hobbies, and it's very critical here. Reading fiction and non-fiction. Now, why do you write fiction and non-fiction? Reading itself is a hobby. And if you've written fiction and non-fiction, it covers everything. इसके अलावा क्या है? भाई mythology भी पढ़ेंगे तो non-fiction में आ जाएगा. तो लिखने, you know, you should not unnecessarily write words here. You're creating problems for yourself. Then painting is fine, etymology is fine, learning new languages is fine, traveling is fine. But I thought if you write 5 hobbies, they will ask you, आप बाकी कुछ करते वरते हैं नहीं, सिर्फ hobbies करते हैं. So you have to think twice. And that is why, as I'll mention later on also, before you submit the form, it would be worthwhile running it through the StudyIQ, because they will see if you have written something which might land you in trouble. Now, this is another example where I'm not going to the entire thing, but you look at what is written here, which could put somebody in trouble. Climate change policies for just and equitable transition. अरे भाई, आपको अगर लिखना ही था तो क्लाइमेट चेंज लिख के छोड़ दीजिए उसको ना. आप क्यों जस्ट इक्विटेबल ट्रांजिशन ये सब क्यों लिख रहे हैं? द मोमेंट यू राइट दिस, दे विल आस्क यू अबाउट व्हाट इज जस्ट, what is equitable, what is transition, and you will run into problems. If you are comfortable with that, fair enough. But try and keep it as precise and short. Here it is not. Participating and organizing youth parliaments and model UNS. Here, following climate change policies and reading biographies, teaching underprivileged kids. My understanding is if you are preparing for the civil service, you will have time for 1 or 2 hobbies. Not as many hobbies as here. So think over it before you write, and that's why this was kept here. So because here it appears too elaborate. Don't, as I keep saying, marks will not be given to you on what you write here or what you've achieved in the past. Marks will be given to you what you do in the interview. This is basically primarily to assist the board members, to evaluate you, to ask questions of you. Here, look at the leadership positions. Now you have written year-wise what you've done. आप इससे पहले की भी अगर मैंने जब आए थे तो मैंने इनसे पूछा 2016 के भी लिख देते, 2015 के भी लिख देते. क्यों भाई? You have to keep it precise to the point. You don't have to necessarily write everything. If you had to write convener model in UN, Parliament Society, अब वो of MIT Law School, Delhi, इसका कोई मतलब नहीं. See, every word is important here. By writing MIT Law School, I'm not against it. What I'm saying is, you should be aware then they can ask you questions on MIT, Law School, and variety of questions associated with it. So what you write here is very important because this is the only document before the board members for them to study and ask questions of you. So be careful about what you write. Now, how is AIR 3491G Advanced 2014 and AIR 1041 a prize or a medal or a scholarship? You must question this when you write here. Now, this gentleman has written it as his prize, medal or scholarship. And this is not the only example. There are many such examples where what you've done, you may deem it to be a prize or an achievement, maybe. I wish they had used the word achievement here, then probably we could have justified it here. But what it says is prizes, medals and scholarship. Getting a particular rank, and since this guy had 3,491, there are 490 people above him. So all of them are going to write it here. Does it serve any purpose? The whole idea of showing these slides to you is that you have to be extremely careful about how you fill in your DAF form, because you will already be now in a situation to write your DAF form, fill in your DAF-2. Be very, very careful about what you do. Then, in extracurricular activities, now this is a dangerous thing that you write, philosophical reading. Everyone who's sitting on the other side of the table where you will be interviewed, everyone is a philosopher and he has his own philosophy. So if you are actually a philosopher, then you can probably live with it. But I would usually suggest don't write such phrases here, because philosophy, and this gentleman, I don't know whether he had philosophy as a subject, whether he studied some hobbies. He's written here extracurricular activities as hobbies. You know, usually what I say is hobbies is nothing which you do regularly. It is, as I said earlier, it is what you do during your spare time. And if you are reading philosophical books, there's no harm in it. But it's a very dangerous thing, because every person who's been beyond 60 like me thinks that he's a philosopher. And you could be in trouble because he will start debating with you on philosophies. It's best to keep out of it. There are few things that you could keep out. You're talking of spiritualism, which is very good if you're able to answer questions in that. You may be spiritual in character, you may like spiritualism, but be careful that you should be able to answer questions that are asked. Because there is a very interesting contrast here. Here is an absolute materialist who talks in terms of automobile enthusiastic car technology, okay? And then you have a philosopher who believes in solo traveling. You could be asked any question. If you are prepared for it, fair enough. But this is a very dangerous way of putting it here. Another thing, when you write it, you have to be careful. No spelling mistakes here. Can you discern a spelling mistake here somewhere? Because if you're not careful, even in terms of spellings, then this could be held against you. They could ask you this. This is not that you don't know the spelling. It is much worse. They will say you're not careful in filling a very important form that is going to determine your future. If you're not so careful about such a form, then how will you be careful as a civil servant? You could be in serious trouble if you make such mistakes. Please let somebody else also read what you write. Sometimes what happens is if you commit a mistake, you read it the second time, you overlook it, read it the third time, you overlook it again. So it's best to get somebody else to read it so that you don't commit this type of a mistake. This is very serious. The board would know that you know the spelling and yet you have not taken care of seeing the spelling. So please be very, very careful. We have taken this slide primarily to illustrate to you that there are aspirants who are not careful about filling the form. You have to be extremely, extremely careful in filling the form. Now, here again, it is good that they have given these awards here, but again, Spanish certificate course at Hansraj College, God forbid if somebody knows Spanish in the board, you could be in trouble. So there is no harm in writing it here, it's fine, but think over, I'm repeating it time and again, what is the purpose of what you are writing there? If you are trying to show off to the board that you know this, you've done this, you're doing this, you're doing this, then think over it twice. Because they are not going to be impressed about your achievements written here. This material is primarily a fodder for them to ask questions of you. So be careful about what you write. If you're comfortable with this, please write such a thing, but otherwise think twice before you do that. And then, you know, this is a very interesting hobby, interacting with people. Many people come up with very interesting hobbies, but then you should be clearly aware that questions could be asked on that particular hobby. Now, as far as hobbies are concerned, which I'll explain in my next session also, you know, hobbies, you are not supposed to know the details of any hobby. Hobby is basically what you like and you do. You are not supposed to be an expert. So it is the difference between being an expert and having certain thing as your hobby. There, because you like it, because you enjoy it, you have that hobby. So interacting with people can be a very good hobby because you enjoy interacting with people. But I would believe that almost everyone does that, no? Especially if you are becoming a civil servant, you have to interact with people and you can't, if it is your hobby, it's even better. So it's okay here. I'm not too much against it, but you should be aware that there could be questions asked on this. Now, here again. Now, hobby means that you like what you like. So why should you write I like? These are redundant words. And this also would indicate that you are not as careful as you should be while writing it. Because by definition, hobby means what you like. Why should you write here? Why didn't you write here, I like playing cricket? The person wrote just playing cricket here, and then suddenly he starts liking and singing. So there's a difference between play. This question could be asked of him. Mr. So-and-so, you say that you playing cricket is your hobby, but you like swimming and singing. Do I conclude that you don't like playing cricket? No, you are unnecessarily creating problems for you. So you have to be very careful about what you're saying. Here again, when you say cricket at university level, I don't know what does that, where does it fit in? If you say in front of sports, you write cricket, it's very, but why do you write university level? How does it help you? So there is a reflection. I mean, when I read this, I thought this guy is trying to show off. Please don't do that. Please don't boast, don't show off. Cricket should have been good enough there. You don't have to necessarily write things for the sake of writing them. No, or to show off. Please don't do that. Look at this. Comprehending the design behind our universe. Now, again, वो मैंने पहले कहा था ना, बंदर के हाथ में अस्त्र देना, पूरा आपने अस्त्र जिस व्यक्ति ने दे दिया अस्त्र. आप क्यों इतनी कॉम्प्लेक्स चीज लिख रहे हैं? Can't you make life simple, your own life simple and expression simple? Now, this is something on which they can actually go into the details and you could be in trouble. On comprehending the design, use simple phrases, simple things. जैसे पिछली स्लाइड में कहा था, हॉबी क्या, क्रिकेट लिख दिया. हॉबी क्या है, वॉचिंग मूवीज लिख दिया. हॉबी क्या, बुक्स लिख दिया. अब जहां आप डेफिनेशन पे गए बुक्स पे, तो आप फंसेंगे. If you write books, you can, if they ask you what sort of books do you read, then you can say fiction, non-fiction, this thing. But why give the details here? So, my friends, this DAF, I'm repeating again and again, DAF itself will not give you marks. So, you have to be very careful about what you write and how you write. Thank you very much.
Study.
Okay, so I hope you found this video useful and has given you a lot of food for thought on how to fill DAF-2. I'll just make a couple of observations. Then we'll open up for discussion. Those who have questions can raise their hand. We'll call out their names. You can unmute yourself and ask your question. But before I do that, a couple of things. One, I think it came out very clearly in the presentation that you should not be boasting there. You should be very careful about filling this DAF. Second, we will have on the 19th, we are going to have a general session on how to approach the interview board. Thereafter, we'll have another session on DAF-based questions. And these DAF-based questions are culled out of actual experiences of aspirants who went before the board and how and what sort of questions based on this DAF-2 were asked of them. That will give you a flavor, an idea of what sort of questions that you could be asked. But there are a lot more things that you will need to do before you get down to the board. One thing that you can do immediately now is to keep smiling. That's very important. When you go before the board, don't go tense. When you are tense, you are unable to even answer what you have in mind. I will elaborate this when we have the session on the 19th. But now also, I would suggest relax. You've climbed a huge mountain. Not many people qualify for the personality test. You have qualified for personality test. I know some of you don't listen to me or not opening your video, but that's fine. Don't open your videos. But even if you don't show me your face, smile. That's very, very important because it shows you relaxed. As a civil servant, you'll face a lot of problems. So if you are tense always, you won't be able to find solutions. Again, I am saying that with personal experience. We have a hand from Ankit. Ankit, you can unmute yourself. And if you can see your face, nothing like it, unmute yourself and ask your question. Ankit?
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
अरे वाह, क्या बात है, हम सब लोग ताली बजाएं, आपने अपनी शक्ल दिखा दी. आपका प्रश्न नहीं होता तो शायद शक्ल
Sir, actually I'm in the office right now, so I'm sitting in the conference room for specifically for this session.
चलिए पूछे, you ask your question.
सर मेरी एक्चुअली 2 क्वेरीज थी लाइक अभी मैंने मतलब अपने फ्रेंड से बात करके डैफ का सेक्शन 7
आपका मीडियम हिंदी है अंग्रेजी है?
इंग्लिश सर, शुड आई English?
Okay, so one which I will emphasize on 19th also: eat, drink, sleep the language that you're going to speak. It should come out, your views should come out spontaneously. I will emphasize this point and elaborate this point on the 19th. Yes.
Sir, so it was like in the first section, 7th of A, I have written 3-4 numbers in the prize section, like medals and scholarships. So is it too much, or should I restrict it to 1 or 2 or 3 only?
No, whatever you think best. You see, whatever you write on DAF, you should know that a question could be asked on that. If you are prepared for such a question, you can write. You should not appear to be boasting that I did this. Now, if I actually look at your DAF, I'll be able to tell you straight away, this is redundant. This may not be written. So you can send your DAF to StudyIQ. They will guide you on what to be written.
Sir, if you allow, I'll just read it out. It will just take 2 minutes of yours, sir. So it's like I was like the first point is gold medal by Honorable Governor of UP, first in university in BTech. Second point is All India Best Maintenance Officer in Indian Oil. Like I'm working for 8 years in IOCL, PSU. So second point was this. Third was All India Topper in Mathematics and Sanskrit in CBSE class 12th. And fourth one was winner of Hindi Sulekh competition consecutively for 5 years at IOCL. So is it too much, sir?
A bit too much. You can do away with the fourth one. You can put
Sulekh competition, Hindi Sulekh competition.
But वो Sulekh आपका अच्छा है तो अच्छा है, मतलब
that has nothing to do with the
no,
service.
it has. I mean, I'm nothing against it. I think that's a good achievement, but it doesn't reflect much, So
Yes,
first 3 would be fine. You write those, but mind you, be prepared for questions on first 3. There could be many questions asked, which we will discuss later. I mean, I'd like to share with you. As I said, I don't want to discuss individual issues here. I will be available for online as well as offline one-on-one session. For that, you will have to send your request to Mr. Rajat, who in turn will send it to me. I'll fix time for you for a telephonic discussion. And we will also have, if you so desire, an offline session where I can physically interact with you. But you will have to bear with me. I travel a lot. You'll have to live the time that I give you for that. And this is for everyone. Anyone who wants a one-on-one session with me, please message to Mr. Rajat and we will structure a session for you. Okay.
Sir, it's a general question, like not the specific question. Like I had won the I'm playing badminton, but I did not perform anything at the college level. So should I write badminton in my second points, sports/NCC?
No harm. Sports is, I mean, they're not asking for achievement, they've just asked sports. If you play badminton, write badminton.
So it's just like badminton, not like he won this prize or second prize in
ना
badminton like
भाई
this.
आपने वो एक आप ये भी लिख दिए कंसोलेशन प्राइज मिला था उससे क्या फर्क पड़ना
So that has nothing to do with it.
है
अच्छा,
स्पोर्ट्स में जहां आपने
Okay.
अचीवमेंट दी स्पोर्ट्स बैडमिंटन लिख दीजिए ठीक है ओके
Okay, sir.
Vanchika.
Vanshika please unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, sir. Good evening, sir. I hope you can
please
hear
go.
me.
Yeah, I
Yes,
can
sir.
hear you. Go ahead, ask your question.
Sir, can I share my screen? I'll just show you my entries. I want to ask one specific question.
No, you ask your question. See, as far as detailed of studying your DAF is concerned, it would be best you send it across later on and they will send you. Wherever you have some confusion, you can ask that question.
Okay, sir. So in point D, which asks for other extracurricular activities and interests, I have mentioned that I like authoring op-eds to foster dialogue on women's issues. Should I write this? Because I've been told that in the past some candidates have done this and they don't appreciate it somehow.
No. I'm sorry. I may also suggest to all of you, don't seek too much guidance here from too many people. Have trust in people you have approached. And whoever is guiding you, ask him, usko kitne मिले थे interview में marks. ठीक है ना? फिर आप लीजिए, वरना if you start listening to everybody, you'll be very confused at the end of the day. I have no problem with what you said just now. Provided you are able to answer questions of this. This can be very good, this can be very bad. Because if
Okay,
you
sir.
have written those articles and you're able to articulate them clearly, it's a very good thing. You are giving them a direction, they will ask you a question on all women empowerment, women inequality. You should be prepared for that. Because this is a very sensitive topic. So if you are comfortable with those questions, write that. But maybe the wordings could be changed a bit. I mean, going into elaborate on this, you can write women empowerment issues or just 2-3 words.
Okay.
Because that gives you a flexibility to wriggle out. You can say, sir, this is not the aspect I've looked into.
Okay, sir.
You know, as you will listen to me on 19th, I'll tell you, you must have somewhere a back door open for you to get out. Don't get caught.
Okay.
And I'll explain that to you. Okay? But in case you
Sir.
want specific wordings, you can send it to StudyIQ, they'll guide you. Right?
Okay, sir. I just had one more question if you have a minute,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
So, sir, having listened to your presentation just now, I made a change in my DAF because earlier I had written AIR 3 in AISSCE 2019. So I've changed it to received Chairperson CBSC's letter of appreciation for academic excellence. Should I do this or should I not keep
Even
it
that
at
is
all?
not required. How does it help?
Okay.
How does it help? How many people, you know, as Secretary School Education, Government of India, I know how many such appreciation letters I issue.
Okay, sir.
Why do you? I mean, be humble about what you say. There's hundreds of such letters written to us. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Right?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
And I'm glad you raised this point. You know, everyone feels, and it's rightly so, कि आप अपनी इतनी अच्छाई लिख दीजिएगा तो उस पर impression पड़ेगा. No. This has nothing to do with your marks. I have said that, I think, 6 times in my presentation. Your past achievements have nothing to do with the marks that you get. Your marks will be what you've done in written and what you speak in the interview. What you've done in the past is not going to affect your marks at all. So be conservative about it. Okay, the next gentleman. Sankalp. I can't read his name.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, Sankalp.
Sir, as part of the DAF-2, we are required to fill our cadre preferences for the All India services as well.
Right.
So, do you have some guidance regarding this, or I mean?
Abni, you go by personal reference. See, you can get away in this by saying, sir, this is what I have heard about these states.
Got it, sir.
वो ज़्यादा push करेंगे, मैं 19th को आपको बताऊंगा.
Yes,
Because
sir.
you're not supposed to know what is happening in every cadre. You're not researched it. You're going by hearsay by somebody. You can say that. And it's an
Got it,
accepted
sir.
answer. Because how can you know what is the basic substance in each state? You're not possible. Or Bobby, you will only go and talk to people and get to know. So you actually
sir.
can get away with it. So you do what you like. You say, sir, this is what I heard. And on the basis that I filled it. They can't ask you, you should have researched more. Arey, isme koi research nahi karta.
Got it, sir. Yes, sir. It
Don't
makes
worry
sense.
on that card of preference part. Only thing that you should think about is, if you don't give your home state as your first preference, then you should have a good answer. Because
Got it,
usually
sir.
it is expected of you to give that. You know, they will ask you questions on what is unusual. So, for example, I'm just giving a random example. Somebody fills Indian Revenue Service as his first choice. Okay. So he or she should have a good answer why they have done it, because the usual reference is either IAS, IFS, IPS. This is the usual preference. You may or may not be asked questions. Some people give, say, revenue service over police service. That question could be asked because not the usual thing. You should have a good answer for that. When I have one-on-one interaction with you, I'll go to that and discuss with you what sort of answers could be given there. Right? Okay, next one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for your answer.
Suraj.
Suraj,
Hello, sir. Good evening.
you have their videos on.
Okay, sir.
And later on, we'll take the others. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Yes, Suraj.
Sir, I have one question. That, sir, my LLB result came out in 2022. And, sir, I have got highest marks in constitutional law. So I'll be given a SP Gupta medal on constitutional law whenever the next convocation will take place. So should I write it? Because I have not got it. I have no notification of it, but I will get it. This is for sure.
Yeah, I got Chancellor's Gold Medal in Allahabad University. I didn't write it.
Okay.
आपको तो अभी मिला भी नहीं है.
हाँ.
आपको जानकारी प्राप्त हुई है कहीं से. और अगर मिल भी गया तो कौन सी चीज हो जाएगी. Then अगर वहाँ कोई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल लॉ का एक्सपर्ट बैठा होगा आपको दौड़ाएगा खूब. क्यों लिखते हैं?
हाँ. लेकिन सर फिर वो देन द मेरिट प्राइसेस वाली एंट्री खाली है पूरी फिर.
खाली रहने दो उसमें.
ठीक है.
आप लोग ये बिल्कुल चिंता ना कीजिए कुछ खाली है तो उसमें आपको नंबर भी खाली हो जाएंगे. नहीं होगा. And this is very dangerous. Something which you haven't got, you heard and writing it there. You'll get caught. अगर मान लीजिए आपको मिला होता तब आप लिखते थे secure this medal. ठीक है, that's fine. अभी तो हियर से है यार, अभी तो पता नहीं आपको मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा. मैं तो उनको भी मना कर रहा हूं जिनको मिला है. आपको तो अभी मिला ही नहीं है. आप चिंतन है, विचार है, खबर है, बिल्कुल नहीं लिखिए.
ठीक है सर. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है कि सर आई वाज द मेस सेक्रेटरी ऑफ सर पीसीबी हॉस्टल इलाहाबाद यूनिवर्सिटी.
अरे भाई,
तो इसको लिख सकते.
अरे क्यों लिखते हैं भाई आप ये? वो आपकी मेस बना देंगे आपका.
ठीक है.
मेस सेक्रेटरी का क्या काम है? खाने का. वो कहेंगे क्या करते थे आप? खाना के नाम करते थे आप वहाँ. मैं भी इलाहाबाद यूनिवर्सिटी से हूँ. मैं सोशल सेक्रेटरी था. मैंने लिखा नहीं वहाँ पे सोशल सेक्रेटरी था.
ओके सर. फिर तो एंट्रीज ही 2 हो रही है पूरे डेफ में.
तो फिर 2 ही रहने दीजिए, उसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम है?
ठीक.
देखिए मैं फिर आपसे कह रहा हूँ, मैं जो आपको सजेशन दे रहा हूँ, डोंट टेक इट. देयर इज नो हार्म इन राइटिंग मेस सेक्रेटरी बिकॉज़ दैट्स अ फैक्ट. पिछला वाला तो बिल्कुल नहीं लिखिए. ये आप लिख सकते हैं मेस सेक्रेटरी. बट देन यू शुड बी रेडी फॉर क्वेश्चंस ऑन दैट. They can ask you what did Miss Secretary do? What was great about you? You can turn it on your side also by explaining to him how you organize things, how you improve things. That will go for you. So if you are ready with those questions, you can write that. But first वाला तो बिल्कुल नहीं. जो अभी मिला ही नहीं उसको तो लिखिए ही नहीं.
ठीक है. ठीक है. थैंक यू सर.
Next.
Bhavna.
Bhavna.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Bhavna.
Sir, I have some doubt in hobbies section. Sir, I write solving Sudoku as a hobby, but some people are saying it is very childish thing. So should I write it or not?
First of all, avoid those some people. This is a request and suggestion to all of you. Who are these some people? Is he an IAS officer, or an IFS officer, or a police officer, or a friend, very dear friend who's never appeared before the board? Who is this person? The most dangerous thing is to take advice from राय साहब. हमारी तरफ यूपी में कहते हैं उनको, जिन्होंने खुद कुछ नहीं किया जीवन में. आपको राय देते रहते हैं. राय बड़ा आसान है ना, और आपको टोटली कंफ्यूज कर देंगे. भाई सुडोकू इज अ फैंटास्टिक हैबिट. व्हाट चाइल्डिश. आपने जिसने आपको एडवाइस दी उसको दे दो एक सुडोकू, जरा सॉल्व करो जरा हार्ड वाला. कौन चाइल्ड उसे सॉल्व करेगा? मैं करता हूं इसलिए मुझे पता है. इट्स अ ट्रिमेंडस हॉबी. Take pride in the fact that you do that. See, it helps you in so many ways. You know, psychologists have suggested Sudoku is a good way of comprehending, understanding, retaining. It's a fantastic hobby. Who told you that? उससे आपसे चाय वाय पीजिए उसके साथ जिसने ये सुझाव दिया. सुझाव मत लीजिए, ठीक है ना. उससे दोस्ती मत तोड़िए, बात कीजिए. लेकिन उससे आगे इंटरव्यू के लिए, पर्सनालिटी टेस्ट के लिए सुझाव मत लीजिए उससे. Write it. And there would be some Sudoku player on the other side, and you can have a very good conversation with them. Okay.
Question is there. Sir, I was winner in Bharat Ko Jano district level quiz competition. So should I write in prize and medal wala part or not?
डाल दीजिए, लेकिन वो आपको थोड़ा explain करना पड़ेगा, question आएगा, डाल दीजिए. I mean, the other guy I was saying no because he had not won it, but you actually won the award, so you can write that. You can write. It's an award that you won.
Yes, sir, but it is at the district level, so
You see,
should we write?
there is a catch here. You know, if I remember correctly, DAF के ऊपर लिखा है, उसमें लिखा है state level, national level, लिखा है नहीं लिखा? लिखा है?
No, no, sir. No.
नहीं
हाँ,
लिखा?
sir.
अरे भाई,
University.
मुझे तो याद है, अभी साल उन्होंने चेंज कर दिया तो मैं नहीं कह सकता.
No, no. It is written that university, state, national level.
Correct. This district level. Should you write it? You answer the question.
Sir,
This is
that's why.
level, state level, national level. No? If my memory serves me right.
Yes, yes.
District is neither state nor university. Then
Yes,
why
sir.
should you write? Very simple. Keep things very simple. Okay.
So should I remove this thing, na, this
Please,
part?
please, because it doesn't fulfill the requirements.
Sir, one more question is here. Sir, I had first position in Inspire Award. So, sir, should I elaborate the project name after it, like it is for the greenhouse effect project that I made? So,
No.
should I?
No. Just write the award. Then they will ask you, what was the award? That is when you should tell.
Okay.
क्यों भरते हैं उसे वहां पे? उतना ही लिखिए. ठीक है?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Next is Madhurkant.
Madhukant.
Hello. Yes, sir. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Yes.
Sir, I want to ask that if I have done some research project in my college days, so can I write it? And if so, where should I write it?
So you tell me
I've
where
done
will
this.
we write it. I can't think of a column where you can write research project. I don't know.
Yes,
Because
sir.
in my case, the columns are very simple. Scholarship, rewards, achievements, वो लिखना है. उसमें तो आएगा नहीं है.
Yes,
उसके
sir.
बाद
I
वाले भी
was
नहीं आएगा.
thinking.
कहाँ आएगा?
Yes, sir. I was thinking for curricular activities.
How can this
but
be
looks
extracurricular?
like
How can a
yes,
research
sir.
project be an extracurricular activity? It is the part of your curriculum, no? Don't write
Yes,
it an extracurricular activity. Was it an extracurricular activity? Extracurricular
no, sir.
activity is activity beyond your curriculum, no?
Yes,
This
sir.
is part of your curriculum. How do you write that? See, I discern a very natural yearning to present your achievements. It's very natural. Every human being. These days in social media, जो एक जगह कूद भी लेता है तो वो भी social media पे डाल देता है. So there is this yearning to present. So please don't do that on DAF. Keep
Thank you,
DAF
sir.
away from it. Okay, don't do that. I'm repeating it time and again. Don't write something which could land you in trouble.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So next is Abhyuday.
Oh, अभ्युदय का तो उदय हुआ था ना. Oh, yes, अभ्युदय, बताइए.
Good afternoon, sir. So sorry
Can
for
I ask you a
joining.
question? What
Yes,
took you
sir.
so long to arise?
So actually, I was using my laptop and it does not have a webcam, so I had to shift to my tablet. It took a little time, but immediately I turned on my video after that. Sorry, sir, for the delay.
My only suggestion to you is when the day of the personality test, don't get into all these troubles. Be on time with
Yes,
your face in front
Yes.
of the board. Okay, go ahead. Ask your question.
So basically, in the sports entry section, I've written that I've played in interdepartmental sports competitions, which included cricket and football. Not in this specific sentence. I've written cricket and football competitions that I've participated in. So should I remove the competition part and just write cricket and football?
What does it say? Which column is this? Sports.
So sports part, yes, sir.
Cricket and football should be good enough.
So, but again, my question is that I'm much more of a player, and I don't know about the tournaments that are going on. So, in how much depth would I be needed to prepare that?
So listen, again, I will explain this to you on the 19th on what sort of questions could be asked on hobbies and to what extent you should prepare for hobbies. I will discuss at length, and maybe I'll answer this question also. Others will also benefit. Okay. Just hold it on that day. I'll explain to you what sort of questions could be asked of you. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I'm taking a session on DAF-based questions. So all these questions would be answered as to if you've written cricket and badminton, what sort of questions can be asked. We'll take actual examples of aspirants who appeared with the board and what sort of questions were asked, and the questions were based on DAF. We'll take that full session. I'll tell you the date. The next one is 19th, will be a general session. I see no other hand, but I also see that many people have closed their videos. So again, before we close this session, there are a couple of things that I'd like to suggest to all of you. On 19th of this month, as I said, I will hold a general session. And on the 19th, you will be expected to file a second Google form with your details along with your DAF-2. Now, DAF-2 is important for us to guide you specifically. Since you all have not filled in your DAF-2 as yet, by 19th, you would have filled your DAF. And by 19th, after you fill your DAF, please file the Google application again with an enclosed DAF-1 and DAF-2 with it. It will help you to guide you specifically. When you come to me for one-on-one session, I should be having that DAF. Without that, I won't be able to guide you because that's very specific to you. So kindly do that. All of you should fill in the Google form. I should not be required to be repeating it. I will message it in the group. Please fill in the DAF-2 form, and that is when we will take off. And take off will be in a number of ways. As I said, we will have a session on DAF-based questions. We will have one-on-one sessions with you, physical and virtual. We will get toppers from previous years to talk to you on what they did to get good marks. You will have mock interviews. There are many things that are lined up. We will individually and in group guide you on how to approach this personality test venture. Now, one thing is very, very important. Please, and at the cost of repetition, please listen to us carefully and read the messages carefully and respond where you are asked to respond. I mean, I find some of you, not all of you, don't even have the courtesy to respond to my message. I've sent individual messages. Have you got individual? Can I see some nods here? Did you get my individual message, any one of you? No. I can see Ashutosh. I will find out why. Others also have not got my individual message. None here. So there is something amiss in communication. We will try and work it out. When I send a message to you, I will expect a response. In the group also, I write sometimes at the end, please acknowledge, you have to do it. Because I would like to feel comfortable that the messages that we are sending to you are reaching out to you. There's a question from Umesh. Umesh, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
What's up?
Sir, actually in achievement, sir, I have done, I've won a bronze medal in inter-IIT. Should I write it, sir? Inter-IIT tournament, sir, in volleyball.
I would suggest avoid it.
Okay, sir. Then we won a gold medal in inter-project tournament in NMDC, sir. Our project won it.
Dal dijiye.
And sir,
but NMDC,
regarding...
see, again I say, there's a very thin line. You should then be prepared to answer questions around that. You know.
Yes, sir. I was working with that PSU, sir.
Okay, good.
Then, sir, in leadership, sir, I was captain of both the teams, sir. What should I write? Should I write it or not, sir?
Leadership, captainship is a leadership role you can write.
Okay, for the college team or for NMDC team, sir, which one should I write?
आप दोनों लिख दो यार, NMDC and college team.
Sir, then one more doubt, sir. In hobbies, sir, I have two hobbies, sir. Long distance driving. Since I look after the maintenance of roads also, so I analyze quite a bit things in roads, sir. And one is I love to make tea and host people over it to sort out any differences which are there, sir, inter-department. Can I write these as hobbies, sir?
No. Don't write the second part of it. Tea
okay, making, sir?
Making tea can be a very good hobby.
Okay, sir. And then hosting people, I should avoid it.
Making tea से hosting आ ही जाएगा. Making tea.
Then the
दो hobbies बहुत हैं, बड़ी अच्छी hobbies हैं. Very good hobbies.
Reading military books, sir. Since I am serving in military engineering service now, should I write? I have an interest, sir. I have a family background. My father is an army officer, sir. Should I write?
No. So if you can answer questions, लिख दीजिए. उसमें कोई नुकसान नहीं.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So another thing that will happen is your WhatsApp groups will be constituted today and tomorrow. All groups, they will be groups of 5 each. What these groups have to do, I'll explain on the 19th. But those groups will be constituted. To me, they are critical for the next month and a half when you go for the board. If you participate in the WhatsApp group discussions actively, the chances are that you'll make it. You'll do very well in the board. That has been the experience of past 6 years. But more on that on the 19th. And since I do not see any other question, we've also run out of time. It's 4 o'clock now. So all the best to all of you. Keep smiling, enjoy yourself. You've traveled a good distance. You've succeeded at one level, and I'm sure you'll succeed again. But keep following what he tell you, read that carefully and follow it up. God bless you. Take care and keep